Hello，你好，Welcome back，欢迎回来to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger on March 6th, 2024. I need to get used to saying the 2024 because it's just going to trip me up sometime. I just know that. Um, Today we're going to talk about a food item that traumatized me throughout my childhood. Yes, we are talking about 苦瓜, aka bitter melon. Now, why did I say that bitter melon has traumatized me throughout childhood? Because my father loved bitter melon. I know. Some people really like that crap, but I didn't like it. I still don't like it. Um, but my father fully believed that bitter melon was God's gift to the world, like a magical vegetable that would cure anything from cancer to heart disease to Alzheimer to dementia and all that stuff. So he at least wanted bitter melon once a week. I mean, that's okay, right? I mean, if he liked it and he ate it, that's fine. But that's not good enough for my father. My father truly believed in what's good for one person should be good for everybody. In this case, he didn't believe that in everything, but in this case, he believed because he liked bittermelon, he believed in bittermelon, he worshipped bittermelon. Everybody should enjoy bittermelon. So, when we got bittermelon on the table, you couldn't say no to it. Like my father would often say, "You're going to eat your bitter melon because your father, me, love bitter melon. If you don't like bitter melon, then you are not my son. Don't come to me for allowances. Don't live in my house. Get the hell out of my house if you don't eat your bitter melon." So I can't even begin to tell you how many bitter melon was forced down my throat when I was little because of this crap. I'm so glad I'm an adult. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I wish I was a child again." Not me. I'm so happy being an adult. Just, at least I don't have to be forced to eat bitter melon ever again. Now, before we go any further into today's episode, let's look at some interesting vocabularies. Uh, as I already mentioned, bitter melon in Mandarin is 苦瓜, K-U-G-W-A, 苦瓜. Ku means bitter, the bitter taste. Gua, this one you will hear quite often. Gua, G-W-A, means melon or anything melon-like. So we'll run through a few commonly used ones. Cucumber is called 黄瓜, H-U-N-G-U-A, 黄瓜, means yellow melon. Um, Watermelon is called 西瓜. That's Sheegwa. 西瓜 means uh, wet melon. uh, Pumpkin is called 南瓜. Nungwa. Like southern melon. I'm not quite sure why it's called that. I'll find out someday, and maybe we'll have an episode on that one. And zucchini is called 茄瓜, Cheagwa, means tomato melon. Again, I'm not quite sure why it's called that. I'm sure there's some similarity in there, but anyway. So anything that's melon, like melon type, that kind of vegetable, it's actually a fruit, by the way. That kind of fruit, um, you call it something something gua. Okay. Um, Incidentally, if you call someone an idiot, not in a mean sense, but like if you are just like calling someone fondly, like you're calling doing like a friendly joking way, oh you idiot, kind of like that. You call someone a 傻瓜 uh, Sagwa, sha means stupid, gua means melon, 傻瓜, stupid melon. That's how you call someone an idiot in a friendly way, in a joking way in Mandarin. You can also call them 呆瓜, Daigwa, 呆瓜. Dai also means slow in the head, idiocy. So 傻瓜 or 呆瓜 is someone you call someone an idiot, not in a mean-spirited way. There are many, many ways of cooking bitter melon, and some ways are really not that bad. Actually, there are ways to cook it and without it tasting so horrible. And today I'm going to give you not the exact recipe, but I'm going to show you how to cook bitter melon, and it will actually taste pretty delicious. Okay, when you buy the bitter melon, uh, slice it up into slices and then make sure you dig out all the pulp and seed. That's the important part. Make sure you get rid of all the pulp and seed, and then you want to boil that in hot water, not overly. You don't want to make it mushy, but you want to boil that for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then let it soak. Take it out of the hot water and let it soak in a pot of cold water for half an hour to an hour. The boiling and the soaking will take most of the bitterness out of it, and then you can pan fry it and use a lot of oil and quite a bit of salt. I'm not going to give you the exact measurement because everyone's taste buds is different. A lot of oil, a lot of salt, and when it's almost done, add vinegar and sugar to it. If you like spicy food, add some hot pepper, and there you have it. You got yourself some sweet and sour pan-fried bitter melon that it's not going to be bitter, not very bitter anyway, and it should taste pretty delicious. Okay, that's your free recipe of the day. Now, interestingly enough, bitter melon did not originate from China. Yeah, I know. I like to say everything came from China, but bitter melon actually didn't come from China. Bitter melon came from Southeastern Asia, probably Philippines or one of the nearby places that no one's able to say for sure. The closest that I can find out is it came from Southeastern Asia. And for the longest time, it wasn't called bitter melon. It wasn't called 苦瓜 in Mandarin. People knew it either as 赖葡萄, means toad grape, because people believe that when you look at the bitter melon, it had it looked like it has warts on its surface, and people thought it looked like kind of like toad, kind of like grape, uh, similar color, I guess. So people call it toad grape, 赖葡萄, and before that, people used to have it, gave it a very interesting name called Jin Lychee. Now, a lot of people know about the lychee fruit. If you have had it before, you know that lychee is delicious. Like it's so delicious. I like just thinking about it. I want some right now. Um, so 苦瓜 bitter melon used to be called Jin lychee. Uh, kind of like um, silken lychee. I guess you can translate that to that Jin lychee. Um, in some medical books, in some myths and fables, it was even referred to as 金灵子, which you can, if you have read the Chinese wuxia novels, you must have heard of it before, because a lot of times Jinlingzi is referred to as like one of the medicines that can save people's life and do miraculous things, bring back the dead and stuff like that. The Jinlingzi in this case was the one of the original names for bitter melon. Up until the late Song dynasty in Chinese history, so we are talking about over 1,000 years ago, up until the late Song dynasty, bitter melon were mostly, well, like I said, it originated from Southeastern Asia. So if Chinese people wanted this Jing Lai Chi, they have to import it from Southeastern Asia. And people used to eat it as a fruit, just like they would eat lychee or longanberry or blueberry or blackberry. Now some of you are thinking, that crab is so bitter, how can you eat that as a fruit? Well, and this is the interesting thing. It doesn't have to be bitter. If you eat bitter melon uh, when it's supposed to be eaten, aka when it's actually ripe, it tastes delicious. It has a kind of a sweet, tangy taste to it. And people used to eat just the pulp and the seeds inside and throw away the outside. It's a totally opposite of what people are doing nowadays. Nowadays, you throw out the pulp and the seed and you eat the outside. In the old days, people ate the inside and threw away the outside, and they did not pick the bitter melon when it's underripe. The only reason that our bitter melon today is bitter is because they are picked when the fruit is not ripe. When the fruit is not ripe, it has a bitter taste because it's not ready to grow new plants. So it wants to prevent animals coming to eat it. So it developed this self-defense mechanism to make it bitter. But once it's ripe and ready to procreate, ready to grow new plants, it's sweet and tangy, it's delicious, and birds and other animals will come eat it, and when they uh, do their things, the seeds will end up in the soil and the new plants can grow, right? So bitter melon is not like supposed to be bitter. If you eat it when it's ripe, when it's supposed to be eaten, it's delicious. It's just what you buy today on the market that people say bitter melon. That is underripe. They're picked when it's underripe because if they sell you a bitter melon that is not bitter, then you would probably think they sold you something fake, right? So, uh, because so many people believe, like my father, believe that because it's bitter, it's good. Because it's bitter, it's like medicine. People believe in that, so the farmers and the merchants play into that. They pick it when it's underripe, so it's bitter. So you would think that it's some kind of medicine. Okay, so the truth about bitter melon is it's not supposed to be eaten when it's bitter. You're supposed to eat it when it's sweet and delicious. So like I said, up until the late Song Dynasty, people ate it the proper way. And then gradually people started eating like the way we do it today. Underripe and bitter as heck and just disgusting. Um, so why did that change? Well, today I'm going to tell you a little story that is one of the origin. I'm not going to tell you that this is historical fact. This is more like a legend. This is what more like a fable, one of the folk tales of why people started eating bitter melon the wrong way at the late Song Dynasty. We go back to late Song Dynasty, the time of the Emperor Zhenzong. Uh, Emperor Renzong was like the emperor of mercy of the Song Dynasty, and I mean he's not really that important to this story, so you don't have to really memorize that. Just know that this is about the time of Emperor Renzong. If you study history, that will give you an idea of when we are talking about. So Emperor Renzong's mom, the queen mom, the dowager. I guess that's what we call them. Like, what do you call an emperor's mom? I think it's called Queen Mom, right? So we'll just call her Queen Liu. That's her maiden name, Queen Liu. Okay, so her son is the emperor. So being the queen mom, Queen Liu was kind of bored most of the time. So like a lot of old ladies, she would get up and then she would have breakfast and then gossip with her many daughter-in-laws. Why many daughter-in-laws? Well, because remember, emperors were supposed to have like 3,000 wives. So I mean that's not quite true. They never really had 3,000 wives, but they had a lot of wives, concubines and mistresses and all that stuff. So that means the queen mom had a lot of daughter-in-laws to gossip with. So in addition to hanging out with these daughter-in-laws and the eunuchs in the palace and the royal guard and all those people, the queen mom has a couple of best friends. And one of these best friends, another old lady by the name of Chen. Now, our old lady Chen was the mother of both one of the magistrate, one of the imperial magistrate, and one of the greatest general of the time, General Chen. So old lady Chen, just like the queen mom, Queen Liu, but you know, old lady, there's the kids. One of the Queen Liu's kid was the emperor, and old lady Chen's son. One of them was a magistrate. One of them was a general. So you know, kids grew up. Kids were successful, and the old lady had nothing to do. So quite often Queen Liu would ask old lady Chen to come to the imperial palace to hang out with her. They would walk in the garden, they would gossip, they would try to brag about their kids and complain about their daughter-in-laws and all the stuff that old ladies did back then and still do today. Right? I truly hope that if any of you elderly, nice ladies watching this video don't get too offended, but I'm trying to tell this the way it was told to me. Okay, so this day, Queen Liu again invited old lady Chen to come to the palace so they could have tea, they have afternoon tea, and they could gossip and crochet and do the things that old ladies like to do together. While they were talking and gossiping, and suddenly Queen Liu uh, said to her friend, old lady Chen, she said, "You know, my son, the emperor, is really doing quite well. You know, I didn't even know that there are so many little countries, little nations out there. Just the other day, there's this nation, I don't know the name, but this nation from southeast of us, from thousands of miles away, uh, past the ocean, this little island nation. Like I said, I don't know, I don't remember the name, but it's one of those nations where they're dark skinned and they don't like to wear clothes. They sent tribute to my son. They sent these Jin Lai Chi from thousands of miles away. Yeah, can you imagine that? They sent us fruit from thousands of miles away. Isn't that awesome? And old lady Chen had no idea what Jin Lai Chi was, never heard of it. But you know, since the queen mom is boasting about her son and the tributes from other nations, you have to say something. So old lady said, "Oh wow, that is so awesome! Wow, yeah, I always say that our emperor, your son, is like the best emperor in the world, and wow, Jin Lai Chi, that's really something, you know. I haven't seen one for a long time, but that's some really good stuff. Like I used to have it um, yeah, on occasion. But this is great. It's a real treasure that they're sending to you. Man, I wish I could have some." Well, the queen mom felt like her ego was being stroked, and she felt really good. So she told her escort, go to the kitchen, bring my best friend here, two Jin Lai Chi for her. So the eunuchs went to the royal kitchen and fetched two Jin Lai Chi, aka bitter melon. Now, obviously, if these things were sent, we're talking about 1,000 years ago, right? These things were sent like from 1,000 miles away. They would not be ripe. If they picked them when they were ripe and they sent it 1,000 miles, they'd be rotten. So these things were not ripe. They were like as green as it could be. Queen Liu's idea was that, well, if if old lady Chen really want to, she could take them home and wait for them to ripen and then enjoy them, since she said she loved them so much. Queen Liu had no idea that her best friend had never even heard of what Jin Lai Chi was, never knew what they taste like, and was just putting on the front. So the eunuchs brought the two green Jin Lai Chi from the kitchen and presented it to the Queen Mom, and then, so Queen Liu handed them over to her best buddy, Old Lady Chen. Here you go. You said you really like them. Well, Old Lady Chen had no idea what these were. She just made up the story that she knew what they were, and they were how precious they were and stuff like that. But she had no idea. And since the queen handed them to her, she thought these were just like cucumbers. So, without second thought, she bit into one, and you can imagine her tongue immediately went like dry, and she almost gagged. But because she's a lady of high birth, she's a lady of proper upbringing, she's the mom of a general after all, for crying out loud. So she obviously was made of very stern stuff. Without even changing her expression, she ate both of the Jin Lai Chi right there in front of the queen and the entire escorts and all the ladies in waiting and the handmaidens. Uh, the old lady Chen just crunch, crunch, crunch ate these two uh, very, very bitter Jin Lai Chi like they were cucumbers. She had sweat pouring down her face, her eyes were watering, but to give her credit, she kept them down. She did not puke them out. Now, the queen mom, Queen Liu, obviously being the queen mom, she had to be dignified. She couldn't laugh, but she wanted to laugh, but she was holding it in. The rest of the court, however, burst out in laughter, and everyone was laughing as old lady Chen, and people were saying, "Look at that old stupid old lady! Look at that 傻瓜!" Like we were saying, idiot. Look at that 傻瓜. She 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 doesn't even know that you can't eat it like that. You have to wait for it to ripen. She doesn't even know. And yet she's pretended she knew what this was. She told everybody this was a treasure, this was precious, and she used to eat it. Ah, what an idiot. Well, after she finished eating the last bit of this very unpleasant treat, old lady Chen cleared her throat and she said, "Why are you guys laughing? Why are you guys laughing? Didn't you know the benefit of eating it this way?" And the entire court went quiet because everybody was wondering, "What are you talking about? What? Like you're supposed to eat it when it's ripe, not this way. What do you mean?" And the old lady Chen took a long sip of her tea to wash away the taste in her mouth, of course, but also to gather her thought so she can make up the story. And she said, I know a lot of you don't eat it this way. I'm not an idiot like you guys think. I eat it this way because I know the magical property it has when you eat it this way. And that perked the Queen Liu's, Queen Liu's curiosity because, as you know, especially like royalties back then, rich people, successful people, they always were looking for magic. They were always looking for medicine, especially fountain of youth and stuff like that. So hearing that there's some magic behind it, the Queen Liu poured her good friend another cup of tea and say, "Please tell us, what are you talking about? I didn't know you can eat it this way until just seeing you do it now." And old lady Chen told them this story. She said, "When I was a young maiden, like most of you, indicating the ladies in the waiting and the maids and those younger lady, like you, like most of you. When I was a young lady, I met a handsome man, my current husband. And we got married and we loved each other very much and we loved each other every night. You can use your own imagination. Um, but to our horror, we were unable to conceive. No matter how much we loved each other, I was unable to get with child. And we were losing hope. So we started going to the Buddha's temple to worship the Buddha, to beg the Buddha to give us at least one child. We went there every day for several years. One night, a very angry Buddha visited me in my dream, and the Buddha was holding a Jinlai Chi, not the ripe one, not the ones you guys think it's edible, the green one, like the one you just gave me. The Buddha was holding a green Jinlai Chi, and the Buddha said, "Please stop coming to my temple. Please stop coming to beg me to give you a child." And I said, "Buddha, I thought you would be happy if we come to your temple every day." And Buddha said, "No, you want a child and you come to my temple every day to ask for the same thing. What does that tell people? That tell people that it doesn't work. That tell people that my blessing is it's fake. You're making me lose followers. Okay? You come in every day, it's making people lose faith in me. So here, you want a child so bad, eat this." The old lady Chen, well, at that time, young lady Chen, in her dream, said to the Buddha, "But Buddha, this is green. This is not ripe." And Buddha said, "When it's ripe, it doesn't have the magic. You have to eat it when it's bitter, when it's green. And you have to eat it like this: seed, pulp, skin, everything. Eat it, and then you'll have a child." So, continued old lady Chen, "So I ate it. In my dream, I ate it, and it was so bitter. And then I woke up, and the next night, the Buddha came to my dream again. And the Buddha said, 'You know what? Just so, because you tried so hard, you came to my temple every day for a couple of years, I'm going to give you another one. Here, eat another one, have another child.'" And I was like, "Well, do I need to do this every night? Because it tastes really bad." The Buddha said, "No, you only get two." So I ate it. And guess what? That's how I ended up with my two children. And one of them grew up to be the greatest general. And one of them grew up to be an imperial magistrate. So you guys don't understand this. You guys think that you eat it when it's sweet. But no, if you eat it when it's bitter, it gives you child. It has magical property. Everybody in the court went still. Everybody had this very shell-shocked expression on their faces. And old lady Chen, to her, she was making up a story that was saving her face. because she looked like a fool eating it when it's so bitter. So she just made up this story to save her face. She had no idea the impact of her statement because at that time, unbeknownst to her, the biggest problem the kingdom was facing that was even though the emperor Zhenzong had 3,000 wives, like I said, he didn't, but we'll just stick to that. Uh, Even though Renzong had 3,000 wives, none of them was able to conceive. I mean, obviously the problem was him, right? Obviously it's the emperor that was the problem. But back then you were not supposed to even suggest that. Uh, it's never the emperor that was the problem. If you dare to suggest that, it would be treason. So anyway, these all these wives, none of them could conceive, and the emperor was freaking out because he didn't want to be without an heir, and this was quickly becoming like a threat to the security of the nation. Emperor without an heir was a big taboo, so this was on everybody's mind. Old Lady Chan didn't know that, so when she told this story, everybody in who heard it was shocked, and I said, "Wow, is that what we need to do to conceive?" So that night, after old lady Chen went home, very smug in her belief that she's saved some face and told a good story, that night, all 3,000 wives of the emperor demanded jinlaichi bitter melon from the royal kitchen, and none of them wanted the ripe, delicious, fruity tasting one. All of them wanted the green, underripe one. And you know what? Crazy as it sounds, a few months later, two of those wives did end up pregnant with child. So was it the bitter melon that did the trick? I don't know. But this is one of the origin story of why people started eating jinlaichi, aka bitter melon, when it's bitter. It's because that supposedly it has the magical property to bless you with children. And that's a big thing in Chinese culture. Like I said, this is not historical fact. It's just a fun little story, fun little origin story to entertain you guys. I hope that it at least did that. We'll be back again tomorrow for Toy Thursday. Thank you for being here today. For now, 谢谢 and 再见.